I'm here to empower and inspire the next generation.
This week, the creator of the curriculum, DJ Hapa.
DJ Hapa.
Sometimes you are given something and it is really your job to figure out, do I take this as is or do I try to find what lies beneath?
I am so grateful and so blessed to have been able to do so many amazing things through my career and through my life. But the biggest blessing is getting a chance to wake up every morning, excited to see what God is going to do through me next. I'm here to empower and inspire the next generation. All right, let's see if this is working. Hey, everybody. Can you hear me all right?
Good afternoon.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Hello.
We've got some of our friends who are joining on Discord. We've got some of our folks that are live here on YouTube. Some folks on Twitch as well. Just want to shout out all of you. Thanks for being here. Good to see you. I am also going to take questions as they come up. So if you have something that you definitely want me to cover, let me know. I've also got a few questions that I fielded ahead of time that I want to help break down. If you are here for live help, this is something that we do that I think is incredibly special. A lot of times you can find a ton of different content that lives on YouTube or on social media, and there's tips and tricks and all that kind of stuff. And we have a bunch of content that we put out as well, and I'm not knocking that at all, but sometimes you just need somebody live. Sometimes you just need a live person who has some experience to be able to help give some insight as to how you get over that hump. So a lot of times I find people that are stuck. They're stuck in a particular space. Maybe they've spent way too much time Googling, ChatGPT, and whatnot. And here's a place where you can come directly to the source. You can be able to get your questions answered, and that's what we're here to do. So I also want to acknowledge this, though. If you are here and you don't have a particular question, I want you to hang out. And the reason why I want you to hang out is because somebody else may ask a question that you never even thought about asking. And yet you're also going to benefit from getting that answer as well. I think so often in this space, in this world that we live in now, we feel like we need to have the prompt. We need to know what to ask. And that's entirely true. If you don't know what to ask, like what would you type in? Right? So in this way, though, by being a part of something like this, you're going to benefit from other people's curiosity, other people's experience, where other people might be stuck or what they might be working on. And that will actually get you ahead. You'll be able to see ahead around that corner that you didn't even know was there yet. So I want to thank everybody for joining. I got a bunch of my Pro DJ Cert family joining in. They're on a back channel on Discord as well. I think some of them are going to pop into this stream and ask also. So we're excited to have everybody here. I will start with, I'll actually start there. I also want to point out that if you have anything, feel free to put it in the chat. For those of you who are on YouTube or anybody on Twitch, you can go ahead and utilize the chat. I'll get a chance to see all of that here on the back end. We're testing out sort of how to do these. We want to do more of these this year. So this is the first of many, many, many to come here on the channel. So let's do this. I've got a friend of ours, DJ Kiombe, who is here, and I think she wants to jump up. I see her. She's added in on the backstage here. Kiombe, did you want me to bring you up on stage and ask a question live here? I think.
Yes, please. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Are you able to hear me here on the mic?
Yeah, I can hear you on the mic. Yeah. Let me bring you up here so you're in the actual feed. There you go. Kiombe, welcome. You are live here, Kiombe, on everything, on YouTube, on Twitch, or whatnot. Yeah. Tell us what's going on. Check. Can you hear me now? I think my mic cut out first. I think my mic cut out for a second. Hold on a second. Let me see.
That's why. There we go. All right. Dealing with the live issues. Can you hear me now? Is everything good now? All right.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right, Kiombe, go ahead. Shoot
Yes.
off what you need, and thank you, Mustman, for being able to point that out. I see you there in the chat on YouTube.
Okay.
Kiombe, what you got? You got something for me?
Yes. My question is, I'm trying to hook up for live streaming, and I think I have the right connections this time. Like I was working with Night Phoenix, and I got it to work on my laptop. Now I want to see if if I'm able to stream using my cell phone.
Yep.
So I think I have the right connections, but I kind of want to see if I play a song, are you able to hear it?
Yeah. So I think on our actual feed, you're logged into two different things at the moment. So I'm hearing you on a little bit of an echo, but outside of that, like, yeah, we should be able to test you and make sure that you've got audio coming through. For those that have yet to live stream, it is a great opportunity. There's a whole other world that is available to us as DJs now, us as creators. I would encourage you to get into the streaming side of it and see how it might be able to serve you, how you might be able to reach your audience that you're looking to reach. But Kiombe mentioned that she's trying to set this up, trying to do this from a mobile phone. So if you want, Kiombe, go ahead and play something, and we'll be able to see if we can hear it. We can certainly hear your mic. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, now I only hear you once. Yep, that's great.
I shut off my mic on my cell phone.
Yep, that'll do it. Now, while you're getting that going, I do want to mention, like, for anybody who is watching on YouTube or on Twitch, if this is something that you don't want to just only digest what you're seeing on Twitch or digest what you're seeing on YouTube, and you want to share your sounds with the world, now is a great time to get into this. There are so many different opportunities to be able to live stream. I think it is one of those things where I think you do need to really figure out what it is that you're trying to say and what you're trying to share. So having some clarity around that and really defining your brand, I think, will be important. For us here on this channel, we're focused on DJ education. So everything that we're going to stream is going to have a DJ education slant to what it is that we do. So whether that is we're bringing up student showcases, or some of the coaching staff is getting up and performing. There will be some performance stuff, but there'll also be things like this, like being able to offer live help and be able to help somebody through a particular situation live, and allow for others to be able to chime in and be a part of that. So yes, you got a track ready, Kiombe?
Yes.
Let's see if we can hear it. No, we're not hearing any audio yet through the stream. No. Now, is your mic, how's your mic routed? Number one, how's your mic routed? Is your mic going into, because we're obviously hearing your mic, so is your mic going into the Rev 7 that you have in front of you? And then is that Rev 7, yeah? Okay. Yep. There you go. I love it. Now, one other thing while you're checking on that, one other thing that I just really need to point out for everybody, and let me see if I can get this hooked up on my side. I could do this a couple of different ways. My my whiteboard has been tripping out, but let me see if I can get this working. The reason why I want to show you this is because I believe that it's really helpful to be able to draw this out. Anytime you're trying to hook up something, like, and not only just for a live stream, but like when you're setting up for a gig, when you're setting up to play a live gig, my recommendation would be that you literally draw it out. Draw out like the actual schematic of what you're setting up, like the exact gear that you're bringing, how you would plug it in, what cables you need based off of that. I think having that drawn out will give you a lot better of an understanding of, all right, this is what I need to pack. So let me share this with you really quick. Let's see if this is coming through. There we go. Okay, so can you see my board? I'm just going to, Kiombe, while you're sorting that out, I'm just going to share with them really fast. Let me switch this so you guys can see this. Okay, so I think being able to draw what you're doing, I think is going to be really helpful. So you'll be able to see if we've got a Rev 7, right, we've got a couple of different ways that she plugged in a microphone. So we have sort of a microphone. This looks like an ice cream cone. We've got a microphone plugged in. From here, we're going to have a USB cable. That USB cable is going to go to our laptop. This is our USB. And I think understanding like how you would actually fit all of this stuff together, if you've got a speaker in the room that you're going to use to monitor, which output are you going in from your Rev 7 out of this? What output are you using? Are you using the booth out? Like the Rev 7 has multiple inputs and outputs. In fact, actually the Rev 7 on the outputs, right? The Rev 7 has XLR outs. The Rev 7 also, I believe, has RCA outs, and it also has 1/4 inch outs as the booth. And so if I were to set up this speaker, in my opinion, the way that I would do this is I would make this the booth. So I would use a 1/4 inch cable here. The mic coming in, this is going to be an XLR to, when it comes to the inputs of the Rev 7, I'm going to use a mic in, and that either can go XLR or that could also go 1/4 inch. It's got an actual input that could take either. So I want to be conscious of this because I need to know what my cables are. In this case, what Cord is attempting to do, DJ Kiombe is trying to do, is she's trying to get audio into her laptop, she's trying to get audio into her phone. So in that case, she's actually got to run another cable from the master into her iRig stream, which is then connected to her iPhone or her iPad or whatever it is that she's using. So there's got to be another output that's going out, and this is actually sending audio. So if this is coming from your master, depending on so we've already got our booth that we're using. Now it's either got to be our XLR out or our RCA out that's then going to go to that iRig. So if we use the RCA out, we're going to use an RCA to, depending on what the input of the iRig was, which I think it is actually an 1/8 inch or a 3.5 input, right? So it's a RCA to 1/8 inch going into the iRig. Then from the iRig, we've got this little probably cable that goes USB-C or or Lightning into the actual phone itself. And that's what she's going to stream off of. So really we're sending the full audio signal. We're sending everything from the mic to what's playing on the music. We're sending that all to the iRig. And then instead of using your onboard mic on your phone, you're using the iRig instead. So that's the way that this should be set up. Now, me just writing it out really quick helps me understand exactly how this should go and exactly which cables I need. If you skip this step, you're going to feel like you're constantly chasing your tail. If you skip this step, this would be the same for if you were setting up equipment at a live gig and you're trying to figure out, okay, I have 2 speakers. Where am I going to place those speakers? Where is power? How far is the power plug from, you've got to be able to sort of see it and then be able to draw it out. I'm not the best. Look at this. I'm not the best artist. Look back at this. This is not a piece. This is not a masterpiece in terms of a piece of art. But this is very, very functional, right? Because now I know exactly which cables I need, and I know what I need to then go and run to Guitar Center to go and grab, or order on Amazon or whatever to be able to have, in order for me to not show up and be like, I can't figure out what's going on here, or now I'm lost, right? So super important. Do not skip this step. Don't skip this step. And I know it sometimes, like a lot of the people that I coach, it's the preparation is not sexy. It's just not. Like the preparation is not like you want to get in there, you want to be going, like this is what you want to be doing. But if you skip the preparation, you're going to then, like, number one, you're going to be anxious because you're trying to keep it all up here and trying to figure out, like, okay, do I have everything I need? I think I do. I'm not sure. Once you start to draw it out, and then especially if you're able to draw this out and then share it with somebody, share it with a fellow DJ, share it with a mentor, share it with a coach. Hey, does this seem right? From there, we can then, like, say, yep, that seems right. Like, yep, that would make sense. And now if you start to run into issues, now it's less of, did I do this right? And it's now more, maybe something's wrong with that cable. Because if we've mapped it out and that makes sense to us there, maybe something's wrong with the cable, maybe we need to restart, maybe there's there's some sort of little technical thing that we've got to work through. So hopefully that helps. Court, I'm going to bring you back up if you're ready here. Let me bring you back up. Okay, so let's see if we've got, I can see you now. I can still see you. I can't hear you yet. Oh, yeah, I got you now. Yep.
I think I kind of, well, if it's here, I don't know if you're hearing me from the mic there.
I'm hearing you from the mic I can tell I'm hearing you from the mic off the phone or whatever it is you're using because I can hear more of the room. And I can hear you even when you're not close to your microphone that's plugged into your Rev 7. So it's probably just not.
You can hear me here.
I can hear you there.
Okay. So on my phone, am I supposed to switch the features in the software of the
Yeah.
StreamYard?
Yeah, you have to basically tell any application, whether that's Zoom, whether that's Google Meet, things that we use on a regular basis, or whether that's something like StreamYard or Twitch or YouTube, you have to tell it what you're using, or what input you're using. Yeah. It's not letting you give an option.
It's not reading the Rev 7. If I'm on my laptop, it'll pick it up. So if I was on StreamYard on
Yep.
my laptop,
Yep.
it's going to recognize the DJ Rev 7.
So your phone won't recognize. So your phone won't recognize the Rev 7 anyways, because it's not the Rev 7 that your phone is going to recognize. Your phone needs to recognize the iRig. Like, your phone is not going to recognize the Rev 7 because the Rev 7 is not plugged into your phone. The Rev 7 is plugged into your computer, into your laptop. The Rev 7 is not plugged into your phone, though. But what is plugged into your phone, if it's plugged in properly and if it's reading properly, is that iRig. So it should recognize that iRig audio interface. And if it's not recognizing the iRig audio interface, then that's the problem. That's where it's broken. So let me switch once more so you can see this. So you can see this right here. So the issue that she's having is everything seems okay on the Rev 7 for right now. Oh, wait, there we go. Wait, it's coming back. There we go. Everything seems okay on the Rev 7 for right now. This is the connection that's broken, that's giving her problems. This right here. Like, she's not able, right now she's only hearing the mic that's picking up on the phone. So she's just hearing this mic, this onboard mic. She's not hearing the actual iRig. If we were hearing the iRig, or if the iRig was connected properly to the phone, then we would hear the music that's coming off of her Rev 7. We would hear this coming all the way through. So there is some sort of an issue here, and now we've been able to isolate this part. Now, this could be a couple of things. One, this could be a situation where maybe this is not compatible. Maybe that particular iRig device, that audio interface, is not compatible with the phone. That's possibility number one. Possibility number two, maybe that cable is somehow busted on that. That's an option too. Possibility number three, maybe the app that she's using, in this case, she was trying to use StreamYard to be able to join me here. Maybe StreamYard is not able to, on that phone, be able to switch the audio input. And that's a possibility as well. Like, so it could be any one of those combinations, but it has to do with the phone. Right now we've identified it has to do with the phone, and it has to do with that connection between the phone and the iRig. So at this point, this is really helpful. This is troubleshooting, by the way. And I'm really glad that we're doing this live, because this is a part of this process. We've got to be able to eliminate some of the other options. Like she had mentioned, it's not seeing the Rev 7, which it won't see the Rev 7 because the Rev 7 technically isn't plugged in. It's really just the iRig that's plugged in, and it's the iRig that would be able to see, or the phone that would be able to see the iRig. The iRig won't even know what is plugged into it. So the iRig has no idea what this is. All it knows is that's audio. It's some kind of audio. So that could be the Rev 7. It could be just, I don't know, like it could be a CD player, it could be a DVD player, it could be anything, any source of audio that was going into it. And that's the only distinction that it would make, is that, oh, I've got audio that's coming through, and let me use this instead of using the onboard mic. So that's really what it could be. Yeah. Okay, we've actually got some really good comments in the chat. So let me actually bring this up here. So Mustman4786 says this makes sense. I've tried on a Rode TRS to TRSS adapter for an iPhone and it worked well. It wasn't expensive either. Okay, so yes, just to explain this really quick, there are different types of adapters that will work. Again, you just need to make sure that there's compatibility. Sometimes, I know this might seem weird, but like not every cable is the same. I'll give you a really good example. Okay, this right here. So I don't have them on me. They're actually in my car. I have a set of they're the Rodecaster. What are they? No, not Rodecaster. They are the Rode Wireless Pro mics. They're like the little square ones that you can, hold, you can clip on, all of that. And then they have a separate receiver. That little receiver plugs into your phone, much the same way as like the iRig does, right? Plugs into your phone, and then you're actually getting audio. So this is great for being able to capture really high quality audio on the go. From like an interview, let's say. So if I were to sit down and, run into somebody at a train stop or whatever, and I could give them a lav and I could interview them and I could set up the phone and we get high quality audio based off of that. We wouldn't just get audio only coming off the onboard mic on the phone. Now, in order to do that, I need to connect the little receiver to the phone in the same way this was, where I circled the iRig, same thing. It's a mobile audio interface, essentially. So in order to hook that up, though, I need to have the right cables. And it's not just about having any cable. In fact, that Rode system is so picky. I don't know what they've done in there, but like it has to be the exact cable. At least when I used this the other day, I tried to use a different cable that I had in my bag, and it just didn't work. And I couldn't tell you why that was. The other thing I tried to do was I tried to do something using connecting out of this and going into an XLR to then be able to bring into a mixer. So to use my wireless system as wired lavs going into like an audio board. I was actually doing this for one of our coaches, Coach 3D. Some of you know Coach 3D. Coach 3D got married last year. And at his wedding, I ended up DJing his wedding. And at his wedding, he didn't ask for it, but last minute, I figured it would be good to mic them during the ceremony. He didn't ask for it, but I mic'd them during the ceremony, and I wanted to use my Rode wireless mics to do that. So I did that, but I needed to get this. I don't know if you can see this. This is, here, let me see if I can get to this on. This is this little adapter. It's technically an 1/8 inch in, and on the other side, it's an XLR male. And you plug this in. It's pretty heavy. There's technology inside of this, though. There's like components inside of this that like you just can't skip. Like you can't just go and get some other, adapter that looks like this. So I had to go and get this one. When I plugged it up, everything worked. When I tried to use it without this adapter, I got all sorts of problems. I wasn't able to hear audio properly. It was all over the place. So I know this sounds silly, but like make sure that you're also using the cables that came with the thing that you're using. A part of the challenge with something like the iRig is that if things have been updated, it's possible that maybe the firmware on that iRig is not up to date as well. Like it's the same things that we deal with on a DJ controller. It's like there are things that maybe that iRig came out, maybe you got this 5 years ago, or it came out 5 years ago. It was originally designed for, an iOS that was, whatever, many years ago, and now something in there needs to be updated. So there's all sorts of things like that too. So I know that this can be really frustrating because it feels like there's so many pieces, but the good news is we've really narrowed it down. We've really isolated it to this particular issue. And so at this point, those would be the things that I would check. If for whatever reason those don't work, another thing that I would do is I would think about maybe just bypassing the phone altogether and just live streaming it straight off the same laptop that you're rocking off of. And that maybe is another option, and something else to potentially consider. So hopefully that helps. Thank you also for Musman4786 in the chat. Like, gave some great advice there, some great insight. So Kiombe, I'm gonna bring you back up real quick. Maybe you had an update. How's everything going over there?
Okay, so yeah, I don't have an update with it. So I'm just gonna rock with my laptop because I know my laptop is able to stream it.
There it is. There it is. There it is. Cool. So sounds like you've figured out a workaround, which is great. I think when it comes to live events, whether that be online streaming or whether that comes to live events in person, like, we have to have backup plans. We have to, sometimes we have what our ideal is, and this is what I would ideally like. And then sometimes that happens. And then other times we go with plan B, and that's okay. That's okay, right? Like, that's perfectly. In fact, actually, funny enough, I had a similar thing happen this morning, right now, right before we started. I actually was not planning on using the Flex 4 that's in front of me right now. I actually had the Groove 6 ready to go, and I plugged it up, plugged in the Groove 6, was ready to go on it, and then as I was sound checking it, it was giving me some weird problem. Like, I wasn't able to hear the left deck properly. And I don't know what it is. It honestly could be a firmware thing, though, because in that case, that Groove 6, that's actually a pre-production model Groove 6. I got that early from Alpha Theta because we were making a bunch of video content with it. So my guess is it probably needs to be updated. I was trying to use it with Serato 4.0, which came out after the Groove 6 was released, and certainly after the pre-launch version of whatever that is. So I probably need to upgrade the firmware on the Groove 6. I probably need to go through some more testing, but it's fine. I mean, luckily I had a backup, and I've got the Flex 4, and I've gone ahead and plugged up the Flex 4, and it is what it is. Here we go. So just be willing to make those kinds of concessions. But good stuff. Thanks, Kiombe. Appreciate you bringing that in. I think hopefully that was helpful for a lot of people. Anybody that was maybe considering getting into streaming or getting into recording even. Like, it's not even just streaming. Like, maybe you want to use this to be able to record. And you want to be able to record what it is that you do. And you're having issues with the recording device that you're using. So you all will become masters at this by the time. This is something like you will trust me when I say this, because I am not here. Here's what's crazy. You're seeing me right now in 2026. You're seeing me right now in 2026. And it seems like I know all of this technical jargon and all this stuff. And I probably seem like maybe a computer wizard to you. I am. If we were to rewind the clock and we go back to like 2006, which I know everybody was kind of doing that, right? They were like going back to, 2016 or whatever. But if we were to go back to 2006, 20 years ago, which I know is a long time ago, it's crazy to even say that. But I was the person who said, I will never use a computer to DJ with. And at that point, all I had was a desktop. I didn't even really quite have a laptop. All I had was a desktop computer that I only used for work. And outside of that, I had a what was it, 2006? I probably had like a T-Mobile Sidekick in 2006 or something like that, or a Motorola two-way pager or something like that I was using. But outside of that, like I didn't know anything having to do with all this. And it intimidated me. Like the computer side of it intimidated me and still does to some degree. But I think as this becomes a part of your world, you will learn it, and you'll learn it incrementally. And it'll be through things like this. Just even being able to listen in, and now you're hearing terms and you're hearing, things that you maybe didn't consider before. So thank you for bringing that up, Kiombe. Good luck to you on the stream. I know it'll work out. Good stuff. We've got some stuff happening in the chat. By the way, if you're here live and you're just joining us, this is live help. I am helping people live with the things that they might have been stuck on. We just had DJ Kiombe. I keep calling her Court because I also know her as Court. But she is one of our students from the Pro DJ certification program. We are getting ready to do a live stream actually next Saturday. Mark your calendars. Next Saturday, we are doing a live stream. It'll be a bit earlier than this. 10 a.m. Pacific time, which is 1 p.m. Eastern. We will be live streaming. We'll be showcasing some of the talent that we have inside of the Pro DJ Cert program. They will be sharing their sets, and we'll be having a great time with that. So mark your calendars if you're tuning into this or you're watching this on replay. Yes, next Saturday, which is the 7th of March 7th. Now we can't back out because I've said it, everybody. Like March 7th, I've shared with the world now. So we can't back out. We got to roll. We got to roll. Even if there's issues, we work through those issues. But feel free to put in the chat. If you've got something that you want me to cover live, I'm happy to do it. This is what we're here for. And I mentioned this at the beginning of the stream. Watching videos is great, but sometimes you just need somebody live to be able to help you out. And hopefully that helped with Kiombe. And for those of you who are tuning in. Yes. Roxy, we see you here. I see Roxy. Sorry I'm late. Yeah, Roxy, you're late, but no, you're on time. You're here. The fact that you're here is great. And you want to know how to join the program. Do me a favor. You can shoot me over a quick, email's great. DM is good. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the actual chat. I'm going to put my email in here. That's not just for Roxy. That's for anybody that wants to reach out here. You need additional help. Here is my email, hapa@thedjcoach.com. This is something that I just love doing, and I'm so fortunate to get a chance to coach people and help them out and help them get unstuck from wherever they are. And we'd love to be able to help you out, Roxy, wherever you're at. We do one-on-one virtual coaching. We also have a full program, and we can talk you through all those different options and figure out what's the right fit for you. Okay, sorry, I'm just checking this over here. I see I've got Coco Pops in the waiting room, waiting patiently. So Coco, I'm going to bring you up on stage here, and you can maybe share what your question is. Hang on one second. Let me bring her up. All right, there we go. And Court, I'm going to bring you off there. Sorry, that was not the cleanest transition, but there we go. Coco, what's going on?
What's happening?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
How can I help?
My question is more for because I do the stadium stuff.
Yes.
So I've been having problems creating a little soundboard because it's not a big stadium you go to we have Lumen Field here and Climate Pledge, they have a soundboard with all these sound effects. And I pretty much have to do that.
Yeah.
For these games.
Yeah.
So I was wondering where you
get,
some of those those samples they use at the games.
Yes, great question. Okay, so a couple of things. Let's talk about the technical part of this first, and then let's talk about the sort of creative part of it. I like trying to break things into smaller pieces because I think sometimes when you look at a problem, or not even a problem, but a challenge, when it's all together, it can actually appear a lot bigger or a lot harder to maneuver. So I like to try to break things into smaller pieces. So let's break this into two parts. Let's talk about the technical first. There's a lot of different ways to do this. Coco, I know because we've worked together for a while now, I know that you're using Serato, correct? I think I'm still correct on that,
yes.
Right? Yeah. So you're using Serato. So there's a really great feature inside of Serato called the sampler. And I know that you're probably already familiar with this, but I do want to share this for anybody that maybe doesn't know this or you want to know more about this. I'm going to share my screen really quick. Coco, I'm going to bring you down for just a moment. Okay, so if I go to the top left-hand corner, I'll see this little air horn symbol. If I click on that, that's going to open up my sample banks. What you're going to see is I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got eight slots, which means that I can play 8 things technically all at once. So I don't have to play them consecutively. This can happen all at once. So like, right, I can play all of those at the same time. Now, not only can I play them, but I also can change the behavior of the samples themselves. You can also technically sync samples. But I'm going to use this as one-offs, like one-shot samples in this way. There's a couple things I want to point out. One is you can load anything into these sample players. You could load a full track into the sample player. And actually, I've seen people do this. This is a trip. I've seen people DJ this way, where literally they're playing a song. Like, I've seen people do this even for what's like an application. I've seen people do something like this for like grand entrance at a wedding. And like personally for me, what I would do is I'd probably put them all on one track. I'd take like the little snippets of, you know the grand entrance I'm talking about, where you have like the bride and groom and all of the wedding party, like they've now gotten married. There's been the cocktail reception. Now everybody's going to come through the doors. All the guests are in the area where you're going to eat and dance and the whole thing, right? And so a lot of times people will do this where, they'll bring in the bridal party, sometimes in pairs, and the DJ is meant to cue different music sometimes for every single one of these pairs. Well, that can be a big undertaking, and the wrong way to do this. Years ago, I did a seminar on this. Some of you may have seen this at some point. I did a whole thing with Creative Live, who is now, I think, not around anymore. But we did this whole thing about, ways to enhance your skills as a wedding DJ. And this was one of them. I remember I taught on this. So I get a lot of comments, even still to this day. I get a lot of comments on this video. But instead of the wrong way to do this would be cue up a song, play that song, cue up another song, play that song, cue up this other song. There's too much happening so quick. You need to be able to edit those ahead of time and then be able to trigger them when they need to go. Right. Because keep in mind, you're also using the mic. You're also needing to make sure that you get that name right. Because if you mess up that name or somehow they switch or whatever, like you got to be on top of that. So anyways, I've seen people use the sampler even for that, where they'll put certain songs or certain sections of those songs in the sampler and then be able to fire them off that way, because you basically have 8 of them. This also works a little bit similar to a software program called Ableton Live. Ableton Live has a mode. So you have your session mode and then you have your arrangement mode. And in the session mode, you literally can fire off these clips. Like that's the way that it's sort of built. So you can kind of get the same vibe and do the same thing or something very similar inside of Serato with this 8 sample bank, which, by the way, you have this in almost every major DJ software. So this is not something that's proprietary to Serato per se. The behavior, though, matters. So if you look down here, I know this is very small to see, and I'm going to try to see if I can. Oh, no, my magnifying glass is not getting bigger. Okay, so this, though, I can change the behavior. So it's very hard to see this, but right now it's just a dotted line and an arrow. This just means that it'll play once and then it'll stop. If I've got this as the H, that basically means it's not an H, but I think of it like an H, which means I have to hold it. So I have to hold. Watch what happens if I hit this. Nothing's going to happen until I hold it. And then when I let off of it, it's going to come back to where it, back to the beginning. So that's the H one. And then the last one here is the arrow with the 2 lines on each side. Watch what happens here. And then when it ends, it goes back, right? So in this case, I've got like the behavior on this is I still need to, on these ones, what I want to do is I want to figure out which way I want it. So right now I want it like this so that I can just hit it once and it'll play all the way through. The other thing that I've got here is I've got this little loop symbol here. So if this is clicked on, when it gets to the end of this, it's going to loop back around. I probably don't want this for a one-off shot, like for a one shot. I might want that for some type of a loop. Like if I had just kind of like a drum loop or something like that, like maybe I would want to keep that on loop. In the meantime, though, what I really want to do is like I want to figure out how I want to set these up, each of these. And then you'll also notice that you have some additional features if you click into the little settings icon. You also have, this is very hard to see sometimes, but there's a volume control for each one of your samples. So you want to make sure that like things are in the right space. I like to usually bring the siren down a little bit, bring the air horn down a little bit, right? Otherwise these things come in pretty loud. Okay, so I also have 4 banks. So I can switch between those banks. So in total, I've got 4 times 8, which is 32. I've got 32 samples that I can use. And I just need to be able to shift between them. Now, you could also hook up something like a secondary MIDI controller. So you can use another MIDI controller to be able to navigate between those banks a lot faster if you wanted to. So, you know, I think when you're performing, what you really want to try to eliminate when you're performing is too much touching of the mouse and the keyboard, in my opinion. I think having the actual physical knob or button can just add up and speed up your workflow. You do need to get used to where that is, and that is going to take a little bit of practice and some muscle memory and some planning out, right? So if I were to hook up another MIDI controller, I could maybe use that purely as my sampler. Hang on, I got something over here that I wanted to show you. So I've got something that is, let me make sure I'm not tethered. Okay, so I've got something that I picked up, which there's plenty of other options besides this, but I picked this up years ago and it's just been sitting in the studio for a lot of the time frame. But I started to use this live at gigs now because it actually has 16 pads on each side. So technically this could give you your full 32 pads if you wanted to, or you could use, you know, let's say this top row is your banks, A, B, C, and D. And then so you're using this to switch between A, between B, between C, and D. And then now you've got maybe this middle 8 that is going to be your 8 sample pads, right? And then you can use this for whatever stems or however you wanted to map this out. So you could lay something like this out however you want. Some people don't know this, but you could actually plug in 2 MIDI controllers to your laptop. You just have to make sure that they're not conflicting with each other. So if I hit this key, what you don't want to do is you don't want that to override something else or be sharing the same option. And later on, that's something that I probably should break down, but I don't want to get too deep in the weeds. But that's kind of the technical side of it. And then let's talk really quick about the creative side of it. So the creative side, when it comes to being an in-stadium DJ, is you're managing the overall energy of what this is. Those sound effects make a big difference, right? Like music and sound really changes the entire environment. So I think figure out what sounds you're looking for. Some of the ways to do that is, you know, obviously, I'm going to keep quoting this. This is from one of our new Pro DJ Cert students, Wide Awakes OG, who gave this to me a couple weeks ago. I think it was last week, 2 weeks ago, where we were on a live stream, and he said this from a mentor of his, which is, you need to be seen in the scene you want to be seen in. Right? And so for Coco, what she's asking about is like sports and sporting events, right? And she's already doing this. She's already gigging, and she's already got opportunities in the sports world. I'd invite you, Coco, to make sure that you're going to enough other games where you're seeing other DJs and seeing how they work, and you can be inspired by that. And also be in community with other DJs that are playing for sporting events. I've got a ton of friends that are doing it. I myself have done it a bit. that's not my full-time focus. I do love it though. I really do. And I was thinking about this the other day of really wanting to kind of double down in the sports space because I think it really does fit, my overall, like what I want to achieve as a DJ with my sound. And, I love like having a space where it's families and it's like people of all ages and, the music needs to be clean and needs to be appropriate for that scene. I'm not trying to be in the club anymore for me, but that seems like a really good venue for that. And I love sports. So certain sports. So, yeah, hopefully that helps. But, also on the creative side, the nice thing about sounds and samples is you can draw inspiration from anywhere. So I'd encourage you, and this might not be the greatest thing to put here and say out loud on a live stream, but it is what it is. Get yourself a good, ripping tool as well. Right? Get yourself a tool or a setup where you're able to record sounds off of things, anything that draws inspiration. So maybe off of a movie, like you want to take a clip of this, like this feels like a really great clip to use, or, off of anything really. A couple of other resources to check out. One is called Splice. Splice is known for being able to have a bunch of sounds and sound packs that usually people will use who are producing music, but there's all sorts of different sounds that are there. There's another one that I used before called, I think it's called Uptime, UPP Time, and you pay for a subscription, then you have access to. You might need to follow up about that. I'm not exactly sure if that's the right name now that I'm thinking about it, but it's something like that, Uptime or Uptime. And then another one that we've used before, even for other things, for visuals and things like that, is something called Envato, Envato. And they've got something called Envato Elements. And they have visual effects. They've got all sorts of things. Anything creative that you can think of. They've got a lot of this that is that you basically can use copyright free, but they've also got a lot of sounds that are there. So I've gone in and downloaded, sounds of, fighter jets and sounds of, a basketball being dribbled, like all sorts of sounds that people will use for video production, editing movies, like things like that as well. So not just in producing music, which Splice is really more designed for that, but something like Envato Elements or that other one I'm telling you about, Uptime, could maybe be another good resource for you too. But also don't discount like your own little things that you hear. You're like, ooh, that sounds really cool. I want to sample this from this children's show or whatever, and get a good clean way to be able to do that. Run it through a DAW or something and record it that way. And the reason why I say that is because some of these methods, like going to Google, typing in YouTube Ripper or like YouTube to MP3 is just not super safe. Like there's all sorts of malware that's out there. There's all sorts of things that like it's just out there. You don't mess with that. It's not worth it. Like for something that you're going to download real quick, it's not worth it. It's not worth you coming or now your data's been stolen and how people have your Gmail login. Like it's not worth that. Hopefully that helps, Coco. Does that help?
Yeah, it actually helps a lot. And I was going to ask you about that P32 because I looked into it and it was discontinued. So maybe I can find one for cheap, or is there?
Yeah, maybe I'll sell you mine. No. So yes, this is called the P32. This is from Hercules. This was a little ahead of its time because this was designed to be a DJ controller. So, but people kind of tripped out because there was no jog wheel. There's no jog wheel on it, right? So, but it does have a crossfader. It has volume faders. It's got like full like EQ knobs. It's got like effects. I mean, this thing is pretty cool. Like as a whole. You might be able to find something on like the secondhand market. I'm also going to reach out to my friends at Hercules and find out if they've got dead stock of any of this stuff sitting around because it's very possible. But yeah, it's a great piece. It's a cool thing to be able to use. Another good one though for what you maybe want to be able to do this with is maybe like a Novation Launchpad. So a Novation Launchpad like is basically a grid of these. or like an APC 40 would do that too. Like an APC 40 is a bunch of buttons like that as well. Yeah, you're not going to use it for what it's originally designed for. A lot of times you're using this to be able to MIDI map Serato controls to it, which, by the way, also I will point out, maybe another option is the slab. So the slab has 16 pads. It's designed to work with Serato Studio, but will also work with Serato DJ right out the gate, and has some other benefits to it as well. So it will probably make mapping it out easier because it's designed for Serato to some degree. But yeah, keep me posted with what you decide on.
All right.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Awesome. Yeah. I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that you're doing all the sports stuff. Like, I think it's really cool, and I'm excited to see what happens with all of that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Cool. All right, let's see. We are I was planning on live stream for an hour. I think I might go a little bit longer. I might go about an hour and 20, hour and 30 here today. If you're just joining us, we are doing live help. If you have a question, please feel free to jump in. I've also invited some of our VIPs that are in the backstage back here to be able to join us if they wanted to, and be able to share on screen. So if you'd like to do that, I can also send you a link to be able to join here on StreamYard. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the chat. If you want to join, that's completely up to you. Let me put this here, and if you want to join here on stage, you can. Let me see. Oops, wait, what did I just do? Okay. I don't know how I got here. I hit a button and now I don't see. Can you guys all still see me? Yeah, I think so. Okay, cool. All right, so let me try to get back here. There we go. All right. Where I was trying to put a link. Hang on a second. There it is. So if you are joining us on YouTube or on Twitch, and you'd like to join us backstage, you want to ask a question live here on the stream, you can. I am happy to pull you up here. You guys can stay back there if you want, or you can jump off too. It's completely up to you guys who have asked questions, Kiombe and Coco. All right, so let me go over this though, because I did get this question from one of our members. His name is Jess, and he goes by Lucio. And I'm pulling up my whiteboard real quick because I need to actually map this out for you. Again, going back to this idea of the schematic, right? Okay, so Jess was asking me, which, by the way, I've got the layout for this inside of. If you happen to have this book, this is First 50 DJ Techniques you should know. What I'm going to refer to right now is. Where is this? Organization Part 1, Library Backup, Concept 41. It's on page 84. But I'm gonna draw it freehand, and I'm gonna walk you through it. But this is sort of the breakdown of this. And the reason why I want to talk about this, okay, we did this also on our Level Up Live. But I gotta say this, and for anybody who's watching this right now, you're either watching this live or you're watching this on replay, and you don't have a backup of your library, of your DJ library, this is your sign. This is your warning right now. I'm telling you, I have no skin in the game. Like, I'm not, like, you're not paying me anything for me to say this to you, but I'm going to tell you because I want to help you. Please back up your library. If you lose all of that time that you've put into collecting these songs, mapping these songs out, setting hotkeys, setting loops, organizing the structure, if you lose that time, it will be one of the worst things that could happen to you. In some cases, maybe it's a good thing if you've got all this music that you don't use. Sometimes that can be a blessing. But I'm telling you right now, I want everybody here to make sure that you have a backup plan. And a physical hard drive is not, in my opinion, now you might disagree with me, and that's fine. A physical hard drive is better than nothing, but it is not the best way, in my opinion, to be able to continue to back up your stuff. What I suggest is using a program like Dropbox. Some people might use Google Drive. You might want to use iCloud. I think that Dropbox is the best. And again, they're not paying me to say this, although they should, but they're not paying me to say this. I just really believe in it. I really believe in Dropbox, and I really believe in the way that we have this set up. So Jess asked me to run through this from zero just to be able to make it very clear, because I guess he maybe started doing this and got confused. Actually, we've had this conversation multiple times, Jess and I have. So I'm going to break it down, though. And for some of you, this is going to be a bit of a review. Others of you, this is new. You can follow along. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and share this. All right. Here's my process. This is what I'm doing. When I download a song, so I'm going to a website, I'm downloading the MP3. I'm downloading the MP3. It comes down to, let's say I'm doing this on my laptop. It's coming into a folder. That folder is my downloads folder. From here, what I'm now going to do is I'm going to move this into a folder that is my music folder. This music folder is also in the cloud. So this music folder sits inside of a bigger folder that is Dropbox, but is on my computer. Therefore, anything that I put into this folder will be backed up. Anything that goes into this folder will be backed up. Now, I know what you might be thinking. For those of you who are seeing this for the first time, you now think that I need to be connected to the internet possibly to be able to access these songs, which is not the case. You do not need to be connected to the internet in order to access these songs. These songs are still on my computer. In fact, they're in two places. This is now a super file. So not only is it on my actual hard drive, but it's also being backed up to the cloud. Therefore, any changes that I make to that are also being backed up. This is very, very, very important, because one of the biggest things that people do when they try to back up is they're essentially, or not try to do, they are doing. So if you were to back up to a physical hard drive, what you're actually doing is you're copying the files. This is a really big distinction. You're copying the files. Now there's technically two copies of the same file. One is on the hard drive, your actual hard drive on your laptop, and then one is on your external hard drive. So as you make changes to the one that's on your laptop, the one that's on your external hard drive has not been updated. The only time it's going to be updated is when I overwrite it. And most times you're then only being able to do that when you plug in the hard drive and you're overwriting the actual files. This is what's actually happening already with Dropbox. So Dropbox is doing this automatically. So as I make changes to the files, once I connect to the internet, then it's going to update all of those together. So from here, the next step after I park this here, so I'll bring the files in, the song gets downloaded. So here's this little MP3, right? This is my little MP3. My MP3 went from here, it came into the Dropbox, in the downloads folder. Then as a batch, I'm moving them into the music folder. Now it's being backed up from there. Now what I'm doing is I'm gonna bring this into, now I'm bringing this into Serato or Rekordbox or DJ or Virtual DJ or whatever, your favorite DJ software. You're bringing that there now, right? So, and then once this is here, I'm not moving this file. I'm not moving this out of this music folder. I'm leaving it where it's at. All the rest of my organization is then going to happen inside of my actual DJ software. This is really important. So I can walk you through this if you need this to be more in depth, but basically this is a great opportunity to not only keep your music backed up, but also you can also use something else called selective sync. So by using selective sync, I can choose which files are going to live on my hard drive and which ones aren't. So I'll give you a good example. Let's say you had 1,000 songs, which obviously most of you probably have more than 1,000 songs, but let's say you had 1,000 songs, but you really only needed the 800 on your hard drive. You had 200 tracks that were really kind of like, maybe they're holiday music or stuff like that, that you don't necessarily need to keep on your hard drive on your laptop, but you don't want to delete them and you don't want to lose those files. So instead, you leave them in that Dropbox folder, but you maybe create another folder inside of that and you selective sync that folder so that that music stays in the cloud and does not take up space on your computer. So those 200 tracks are not on your computer. You will be able to see them when you look at Dropbox. You'll still be able to see them, but they're not actually files on the computer. So this is a way of essentially keeping, I use this analogy sometimes of like a house and an attic. You know, you're basically taking those tracks and putting them in the attic. You still own the stuff, but it's in the attic. So it's not getting in the way of your daily life. It's not getting in the way of you finding the right song to play right now. It's in the attic. When you now need it, you can go to the attic and say, where is that thing that I need? Where's that Disney soundtrack that I ripped from a CD years ago? Where is that thing? All right, let me grab that, right? And it's still there. You still have it. And then you can bring it down and then you can use it. And then when you don't want it anymore, you selective sync it and it goes right back up to the same place it was in the cloud. This is so much better than worrying about hard drives, which, by the way, hard drives fail. I've had so many hard drives crash on me. I've probably had, I don't know, probably 3 hard drives in computers crash on me. And then I've probably had, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 external hard drives crash out. And it just happens. Even SSD drives, even solid state drives. Like, they're just not meant to last forever, unfortunately. The one downside to Dropbox is you are paying a subscription, but to be honest with you, I think it's 2 terabytes for $120 or $129, something like that. Well worth it in terms of the amount of peace that I have. If my laptop were to completely die today, I have peace knowing that my music is backed up. Like, all of my stuff's up in the cloud. And even better, for those of you who use multiple machines, like maybe you have multiple laptops or you have a desktop as well, like, this makes life so much easier, because right now even I'm syncing between multiple devices. I'm syncing between my studio desktop here in the studio and my laptop that's here, my main laptop. I'm also syncing that to my phone, right? Like, everything is in sync and I can check on any of those things at any given time. So I would highly, highly encourage this. I think Jess is here in on YouTube. I love Lucio. I think I see you here, Jess. Jess, is that you? I assume that is. But yes, hopefully that helps, man. Like, let me know if that works, or if you need me to go a little bit deeper, let me know. But hopefully that took you through it step by step enough to make sense there. Cool. I also see Tycoon. Looks like Tycoon is on YouTube as well. Roland SP404 is what he's trying out. I missed that comment earlier. That Roland SP404 also is that's more of a hardware solution. So you can load things into the SP404 and use that as an independent sampler. And that's certainly not a bad way to go either. Like, the only thing is you need to have audio input for it as well. So you're gonna go out of that Roland SP404 into something, and it's sending audio. So it's basically functioning like its own standalone sampler. You're not actually relying on Serato or anything like that. There's pros and cons to that. In some ways, I think if you're DJing and you're already running through Serato, to me, I think it's easier to use the sampler function inside of Serato for most things. The SP404 is great for a bunch of other stuff, like being able to make beats on the fly, being able to do, sort of different things with that without having to worry about a computer. But I think for the use case of doing this at a sporting event, I think if you didn't have any type of sample machine that you were using, like that they were already giving you, that you had hardware that was there that could load up, Serato will do the same. Even as that, and I know plenty of DJs that play for sports teams that even have access to something like an instant replay machine, which is that's what the old school version of this was, something called an instant replay, and I could probably bring up a photo of it at some point in time. It was like this cream colored, whitish colored console thing, had a bunch of buttons on it, and they still use this for a lot of things. I mean, people were using instant replay machines with like rappers on stage, like as like a DJ for a concert. You would maybe use an instant replay machine as a part of that. You'd load all the samples into it. I was using what was it? I think it was the 404 years ago, not the version 2, but the original one. I was using that with a rap group that I was DJing with as well in that same way. And that was before Serato was really like reliable in that particular case. Like that was when it was still Scratch Live and things like that, and the sampler wasn't fully built out like this. Now that you've got the sampler inside of Serato, I would honestly encourage you to like go that route and see how that goes, because you can really utilize that for a lot of different things. Cool. All right, we've got some other things here. Which, by the way, can I just get a little bit of feedback? Like, is this working for anybody? Like, is this helping anybody? Like, is anybody getting help from this? Yeah? Like, this is useful? Okay, good. Good. Like, I don't want anybody to waste their time. Like, I want you to be here and you're like, this was a drag. What a waste of an hour. Like, gosh, I didn't learn anything. I know sometimes I can kind of go on about a subject, but a part of what I want to do here, and maybe this is, I don't know, maybe some people don't like it, which I can understand. It's like, I'm not your Chat GPT. Like meaning that, like, I'm not just gonna give you the one word answer, or the like, give it to me in 8 words or whatever. Like, I'm just not gonna give that to you that way. And I'm sorry, like, there might be people who would, it's like, hey, so what would you use as a sampler for, or where would you get samples from? And I just give you like Envato or Splice. Okay, moving on. Like, I feel like people need more context. And I think through this process of talking through some of these things, we kind of start to discover other pieces. And one of the things that I, really pride myself on over this now 22 years of teaching is, yes, I've taught a lot of people how to DJ, but I'm more proud of the fact that I've helped create DJs. And there's a difference between the verb DJ and the noun DJ. And I think the biggest difference, in my opinion, between the verb DJ and the noun DJ is context, and is understanding why. Like, why do we do this? Where did this come from? How did this come out this way? Like, what was this about? And I feel like I have a responsibility to share that. So I understand that I'm not for everybody, and that there might be some people that are like, just give them the answer. Just the answer is C, and then move on. I don't think I'll ever be able to do that. So apologies if some of this is a little bit long-winded, and maybe you're getting more than you bargained for. You're getting more context than you imagine. But I do think it's important to know where these things come from, and I think it's important to be able to give you some of this experience that I have. I've been DJing for 30 years now. This is 30 years this year, which is wild. But I want to be able to share that with you, because I want this to live on. Like 100 years from now, I hope that there are DJs everywhere, but that they're still carrying out the culture that, like, I fell in love with, right? And that's not me being like an old head and saying that, like, oh, it needs to be this way, but more so about like where this comes from and why things come about. So anyways, that's my soapbox. I'll get off that. All right. So loving this. Okay, good. So helping some of you. Good. All right. Terrence asked, which Dropbox plan would you recommend for a mobile wedding DJ? Okay. I have a couple of follow-up questions I'd like to ask you, Terrence, as I answer this, but I'll answer this at the same time. The plan that I think I'm still on, and I think most of the students that I have are on, is, I don't know what it's called, but it's basically giving you 2 terabytes. There's not really a plan that's lower than that these days. Now I think you're either on the free plan, which gives you like this much space, or you're on the 2 terabyte plan, or 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte plan, something like that. But yeah, I think for $130 a year, like, that really is like that price point oftentimes that I see most people falling into, and it's great. It also doesn't need to be only for your music. We actually use Dropbox as an organization to manage all of our video content, to manage all, like, I was pulling up stuff earlier that I was trying to get some artwork in this live stream, and I pulled up some stuff and I went to Dropbox, and this was something that Coach Bry had edited, and I was able to download it and selective sync it to the device that I'm on and be able to use it. So we use that for video stuff as well. as you can imagine, if you're doing this with a lot of video, that takes up a lot of space, especially if you're using video on your gigs. Like maybe you're recording content, which I hope you're doing as a mobile wedding DJ, that you're recording content, but you'll want to house that somewhere. And again, same thing. Like to me, there's very few things that I think you should have that are not in the cloud. To me, it's either you want it or you don't want it. If you want it, it should be backed up in the cloud. If you don't want it, then it doesn't matter. But then I would argue, why do you even have it if you don't want it, right? It should be in the trash bin. So realistically, the way that I see it is if you have video, if you have music, any type of media that you're wanting to be able to access quickly, even be able to access on the go, Dropbox is really great for that. I would encourage you that, if you had a business, I think there's some different business plans as well. I think start small. Dropbox is great about, alerting you if you're about to hit the limit. They also have options where you can buy extra storage for incrementally a bit. And I've been super happy with Dropbox. By the way, I also used to use something called Box. There was something called Box.com as well, and they did something very similar to Dropbox. There was also another one called pCloud. I'm telling you this because I want you to know that I've done a lot of that homework for you. I've gone through this process. I've tried different things. And so me suggesting Dropbox is not because it was the first thing I saw or the first thing I used. It's the best thing I've used to date. And the other thing that I like about Dropbox is this is their primary business. It's Dropbox. Storage is their primary business. Google Drive is a part of Google's ecosystem. Google has all of these things that they're doing. And while, yes, there's a team assigned to Google Drive, and I use Google Drive mostly for documents, I just don't, I find that it's faster, easier, more reliable to use Dropbox. So hopefully that helps. But if you have, what I was going to ask you actually, Terrence, is if you have DJs that you collaborate with and that you work with a lot, or that are a part of your company, like you had a multi-op and you had multiple DJs that are using maybe the same repository of music, like the same database of music, I've helped set up mobile companies, mobile DJ companies. I've gone in and consulted to help set up their entire structure for this is your library. This is the elite DJ's library. And therefore you're sharing hot cues. You're sharing all of this information across all the different devices. And because you're using Dropbox, you can keep those all in sync. So it's a really great way of managing that, because one of the companies that I helped set up, they had a main person who was in charge of downloading the new tracks and sort of helping to map things out. And then they would put them in that Dropbox, and then some of their DJs would then be able to take from there. And some of their DJs, what they did is they started to develop their own hot cue system, which is fine. But then what they did is in those cases, they copied those tracks over. Personally, I think it's just much easier if you just make everybody adapt to your system, and then everybody's using the same tracks. Everybody's got everything already mapped out. I mean, it's a really great way to save a lot of time and energy by being able to do that. So, hopefully that helps you. Okay, cool. Just checking the chat real quick. Roxy, yes, please email me. Would love to be able to help you figure that out. And then let's see, Mustman4786. Sorry, I think you had a comment earlier, Mustman. Let me see. Is it worth live streaming with an adapter? Is it worth live streaming with an adapter to Instagram? I guess Facebook shuts you down. Also, what is auto gain? Great questions. Okay, great questions. Number one, is it worth live streaming with an adapter to Instagram? I thought about it even here, because I actually Instagram is my social media platform of choice at this point. I've got my sort of the most energy, and I put the most energy into Instagram. But yeah, historically, Instagram has given me so many problems when it's come to going live, and especially going live as a DJ with the music rights and all that kind of stuff. So, right now, as it stands, the two platforms that are the most lenient when it comes to, or three platforms that are the most lenient when it comes to DJ live streams. One is Mixcloud, two is Twitch, and three is YouTube live, right? To be able to like go live. TikTok also like in there as well. Like TikTok has also like that's one that I know a lot of DJs have started to start doing as well, is on TikTok. It's also a different aspect ratio, right, on TikTok. So you're looking at it vertically as opposed to wide. Right now, we're actually live streaming to YouTube and Twitch at the same time. Right now, we're using something called StreamYard. That's what's allowing me to multi-stream at the same time. I'm also technically streaming into our private Discord as well, so I can see some of our family that's in here in the private Discord. But yeah, I would suggest giving it a shot at least. If you're big on Instagram and you want to be able to try that out, give it a shot. These rules and laws change all the time. The agreements that the labels have with these different platforms change all the time. So yeah, I give that a shot. Last thing you gave, there's a two-part question. Also, what is auto gain? Auto gain is a setting inside of your software. So let me show you this really quick. Auto gain inside of Serato. Do you see how this one, the gain is sort of grayed out? That's because I'm using auto gain. So when the track analyzes, I've got use auto gain checked on. By default, it's set to 92 dB. I personally put mine at 95 dB, so it gives it a little bit of a bump. If you were to go in and change your settings inside of Serato right now for auto gain, that would not fix all of your files right away. You would have to reanalyze your files again, and I would do that overnight. I definitely wouldn't do that before a gig, but it would reanalyze the files and it would try to set the auto gain. Now, what is auto gain? Auto gain is like here I am on the actual Flex 4. Here's my gain knob, my trim, right? Like I'm really using the trim to be able to help really dial in. I need a little bit of a volume boost overall. I need to take it down a little bit, because every track is going to be a bit different in terms of the sound and how loud it is. So I'm using this to match those sounds versus this. I'm not using this, my channel faders, to match the sounds. So if this one was a little bit louder, I would still bring the volume all the way up, and I would make sure that my trim is down a little bit like that. What auto gain does is it kind of does that work for me ahead of time. So I shouldn't have to touch these technically. Certainly not as much if I'm using auto gain. Now, like anything, does the software get it right 100% of the time? Absolutely not. Right? So there are times where you do need to you need to manage that. There's also where your pre-cue becomes really important. Your headphones ahead of time. I see so many DJs DJing without headphones. Not a good idea. Use headphones. Like that output is there for a reason. Use headphones. You'll be able to stay one step ahead of your audience. You'll be able to see, does this song fit vibe-wise? Does it match together well? And is the volume consistent? You're going to get all of that information by being able to have your pre-cue. But the auto gain will save you a bit of time. And I use auto gain. I think it's great. I think it gets you in the ballpark. From there, you can kind of dial it in. So hopefully that's helpful. I see we've got somebody who's jumped in. DJ Lola Lucky, I see you here backstage. I want to bring you up really quick. I'd love to see how I can answer your question here. So I'm going to bring her up on the stage. Here we are. Sorry, Coco, let me take you off there. All right, DJ Lola Lucky, how are you? I can't hear you on my side. I don't know. Can anybody else hear you? Let's see. Maybe it's an audio thing. It doesn't look like you're muted. Let's see. It's definitely cutting out there. Oh, there. Wait, no, still can't hear you. All right, let's see if we can. No worries. Yeah, yep. Wait, I hear a dog barking or something. Yeah. So we can hear a dog barking in the background, but it's almost as if the setting that you have on the live stream, like whatever's coming into StreamYard, is not the right audio setting. It looks like you want to take your mic on StreamYard instead. So Yeah, no worries, no worries. If you want, go ahead and put it in the chat as well, and I'll try to answer it. Otherwise, stay here and try to figure it out. I'll keep you here. I'll switch you out here. I'll keep you backstage for now. But in the meantime, you can go ahead and put it in the chat. We'd be happy to help figure it out. No worries. Don't worry about it. This is great. This happens. Like, we're live. This is what happens when we're live. You know what I mean? Like, this is great. I love it. Okay, let me see if I have anything else. Terrence, you asked me the Dropbox thing. All right. If anybody has any other questions, please feel free to put it in the chat. Whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Twitch, whether you're here on the back channel for all of my Pro DJ certs back here hanging out. I see Freezy's back here. Freezy, let me know if you got anything. Clags, let me know if you got anything. Enliven, anything that you need. And you're just here hanging out. Oh, you have something, Clags. Yeah. Okay, what do you get? Yeah, I can hear you. They won't be able to hear you on the stream, but I can hear you. But I'll hear you here, and then I can relay it. Unless you want your pretty face on the live stream, you can do that too. You can just click on the StreamYard link. It's up to you. Whatever you prefer.
Yeah, that's all right. I'll try to relay it to you.
Okay, relay it to me, and then I'll share with them.
Okay, I'm using Serato, and when I go to analyze newly imported songs, this has been happening for the past 4 weeks.
Yes.
It's not picking up the key of the song.
I did see that. Okay. I think I got it. I got it, Clags. So let me try this. So Clags has asked a question in Serato. When he goes to see the songs don't have key. And when he analyzes the songs, they don't have the key. Now, Clags, if you're using Serato 4.0 and above, there's a new setting that's here inside of Serato. And I want to show it to everybody really quick. So there's an Analyze Files button that's here right above the browser. If I click on the little arrow underneath it, it's going to give me a couple of options for check marks. One of them is Analyze on Import, Analyze Key, Analyze BPM. If Analyze Key is not checked on, it's not going to analyze the key. Now, Clags was also asking because he has a program called Mixed in Key, which, by the way, all right, y'all pray for this because I'm hoping that we can launch this before summer. We did a course with Mixed in Key all about harmonic mixing where you could get Mixed in Key certified. We built this whole thing. It hit some different snags. We lost a little bit of momentum between us and Mixed in Key, but it's all good. We connected up like last month and said, what are we doing? Let's absolutely do this. Let's launch this out there so that people could feel like they could earn a bit of a certification when it came to harmonic mixing and could learn more about key and learn more about harmonic mixing and how to use a program like Mixed in Key, which is a very, very powerful tool. So if anybody has never used this before, you can type this in. Mixed in Key, by the way, is responsible for the Camelot wheel. So I have this in the book as well. So if you go to key, what is it? 56, page 56. Let me see if I can pull it up for you. Oh, wait, no. Wait, where is it? No, the other one, 59. So I don't know if you can see this. You probably have seen this before. This type of really colorful wheel that's here. This is using something called the circle of fifths. Now, I'm going to say this when it comes to key because sometimes, myself included, I get really wrapped up in key. So much so that I'm using it and let's say like here, give you a good example. Hold on, let me actually like make this work for you. Okay, so here I am. I've got this Dua Lipa song. This is in 9A, right? That's what it's in. That's what it analyzed in. It's 9A. So if I were to look at the actual key, 9A is going to tell me that is E minor. Okay, so that's E minor. Now, according to this, I can mix this with something that's 9A, 10A, or 8A, right? I can go one step in either direction. Sorry, let me pull this up on the Camelot wheel. Okay, so here, let me show you on this overhead. So 9A means that I could go one step in any direction. So I can mix a 9A with a 9A. I can mix a 9A with a 10A, or a 9A with an 8A. And this keeps me in the minor space, right? So for those of you who are classically trained musicians, E minor, B minor, A minor. that those would all sound good harmonically. And this is the way that the circle of fifths is works. And yet at the same time, Mixed in Key helped design the Camelot wheel to make this easier for non-classically trained musicians like myself to make it this a bit dummy proof. Now, if I wanted to go from minor to major, I also could do that. I could go from E minor to G by going from 9A to 9B. So I can move one direction, like one step in any of these directions, and keep that harmonically compatible. Okay, so but what I was going to say about this is sometimes you get so wrapped up in this that you're making a decision based on, oh, these keys will go together, or oh, I should play this song, and then you pull up that song and you say, oh, but that's in 2A and I'm in 9A. That's not going to work. And so you don't play it. Wrong. Don't do that. Trust your DJ instincts. If you feel like that song will work next and that's not in the compatible key, do it. Do it. Try it. Again, that's where the headphones come in, right? Like put the headphones on, listen to that. How does that sound? Does it sound bad? Does it sound like things are clashing? No? Okay, then do it. Go for it. Mix it. Where this becomes really, really important is when you've got two songs that are laid on top of each other and both of them have melodic elements, right? So you've got piano and vocals, and on the other one underneath it you've got a bass line and a guitar. If they're not harmonically compatible, it's going to sound like a clash. But if you're just mixing drums underneath that, maybe it's not that big of a deal. Maybe it's not as noticeable. Maybe it still sounds fine. So I think people get really caught up on key and feel like key is so important, myself included. But don't do that. Don't put such an emphasis on key that you're throwing out your DJ instinct. Right? Keep your DJ instinct sharp. Hopefully that helps, Clags. Does that help? Was that setting? Was it that setting? Was that off? Yeah. That was the issue?
I have to go in and check.
I think my guess is that was the issue. I ran into the same thing the other day. And I looked at it and I was like, oh, the analyze key or the analyze key thing is unchecked. Oh, okay. And then I reanalyzed them. Yeah. Oh, last thing I have to say about Mixed in Key. Mixed in Key has the most accurate key detection on the market, bar none, hands down. So one thing that you may want to do is keep that checked off. Run everything through Mixed in Key first. Have Mixed in Key find the key and write the key to the actual file. And then when you bring it into Serato, you won't need to have Serato analyze the key because Mixed in Key has already done it. And it's done it more accurately. So food for thought. Like in terms of workflow, maybe you would think through that where you remember how I showed you how I did this with Dropbox? Instead of dragging it into Serato first, maybe what I would do is drag it into Mixed in Key first, have Mixed in Key analyze it, then from there, dragging it into Serato. So I'd add in an extra step where instead of going into Serato first, I'd go to Mixed in Key first and then into Serato.
It sounds like it would be worth it.
I think it'd be worth it. I've meant to do that on my side, and I've just become a little bit lazy with bringing that into Mixed in Key, just to be very honest with you. But me talking this through with you makes me want to bring it into Mixed in Key first. The other day, it screwed me up. Like Serato gave me the wrong key, and I was trying to like mash something up, and my ear is fairly good, but like my wife's ear is better. Like when it comes to melody and things like that. And so when I played it for my wife, she was like, oh, that sounds okay, but sounds like it's clashing or whatever. And I was like, interesting. I ran the track. I took that same track, ran it through Mixed in Key. Mixed in Key gave me a different result. And then that changed what I mashed this thing up with. So then I was like, oh, let me try this instead. And it sounded way better. So food for thought. And Terrence says song selection is key. There's a play on words there. Song selection is key. I like that. All right. Tycoon, I think, is asking me, I think this is Tycoon, have you had any experience with Lexicon DJ software or Mixo software for organizing your DJ software? Yes, I have, and I can talk about that here in just a minute. Tycoon, I want to see if we can get DJ Lola Lucky. Let's try this again and see if this works now. Lola Lucky, are we ready? Let me see if we can get you going here. Can you hear us? Do we have your audio yet? Are you able to unmute? You looks like you're unmuted. But I can't hear you yet. Yeah. Nope. We can't hear you, but if you want, well, it's nice to meet you in person. But go ahead and put in your questions or whatever you might have. But unfortunately, I can't hear you. I don't think anybody else might be able to hear you either on their side. That's okay. Don't worry about it. I like your setup, though. You got like a nice setup. Looks like you maybe are ready to stream, or maybe you're already streaming, which is great. But yeah, put your question in the chat. Feel free to put your question in the chat, and we'd love to answer it. In the meantime, I'm going to let's see, what's our time here? It's 4:30. Okay, I said I would go 20 or 30 minutes, but I'm having a lot of fun with you guys. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to set a timer. Let's see if Lola Lucky has a question, well, she can put that in the chat. Maybe we get to that one, but I'll get to this one that Tycoon has as well, which, by the way, hey, I got this off of Amazon. This little sucker, I meant to use this. This has been really cool. It's been very helpful. This is a timer. It's a little piece of hardware. It's a little timer, and you can set it. You can set it on the table. Let me show you. You can set it on the table. Let me see if you can see this. You see that? And right now it shows me as 0, 0. And when I flip it, it's got multiple sides, and so it knows which side. So if I flip it this way, it's now counting me down 10 minutes. So I've got 10 minutes. There's no way to show, like I'm going to angle it a little bit. You can see it's kind of counting down. But now I know, and then if I have to pause it, I can flip it up and it pauses, and then I put it back down and it starts going again. Anyways, this is really helpful because I'm going to go for another 10 minutes, and I'm going to go keep myself on the clock. Okay. Tycoon, have you had any experience with Lexicon, DJ software, or Mixo? I'm going to put that there. Yes, I have. Mixo, actually, one of my friends, Marcus, he is the head of Mixo and helped develop that. I've had a lot of conversations with Marcus over the years, and the software has gotten a lot better. They are a mobile-first software. There is something that I've got to go back over because I know they released some new things, and it's been a while since I've caught up with like where it's currently at. But one of the things that I had a hard time with Mixo initially is I needed to upload my entire library into Mixo, and then it sort of broke my Dropbox setup that I had. So I didn't like it for that reason. Like I like peeled back for that reason. Lexicon offers some other features as well, but here's how I use both of those products currently, Lexicon in particular. I use Lexicon mostly for being able to convert my hot cues from Serato to Rekordbox. And that's what I use Lexicon for. So Lexicon has and they now offer this up for free with Lexicon. You don't even have to do this on the paid platform anymore. But you can take a crate that you have inside of Serato, and you can one-way sync that to Rekordbox, and it'll take all of your hot cues, all of your loops, all of that data, and now put them into the Rekordbox format. Where I use that is if I now am going to use Rekordbox and DJ with Rekordbox, or especially when I'm using like a CDJ and I want to be able to put something on a flash drive and be able to have those playlists on a flash drive. I do something in VR as well. So we have an app called TribeXR, and TribeXR will actually take your Rekordbox database, and so I use that for that syncing too. So I'll sync things over from Lexicon, from Serato to Rekordbox, which, by the way, I also start in Serato because Serato saves all of the hot cues and all of the loops and all the metadata gets saved to the actual file. Not every software platform does this. So that's why I use Serato first. Then I sync using Lexicon to Rekordbox. And from there, now that it's in a record box format, I'm able to put that on a USB drive, go straight into CDJ or an all-in-one like an Omnis or Opus Quad or XDJ, AZ or whatever. I'm able to go straight in, or I can also now take that into VR and be DJing in VR. Which one of these live streams, I'll put the VR headset on and I'll DJ in VR for you, because that's fun too. But hopefully that helps you. I would highly encourage you to check out both platforms, but I would be very cautious about dumping your entire library into any of those platforms. Start with a smaller amount, like start with a playlist of like 5 tracks or something like that, and test out so that you can sort of see how it works. Many of them also have free trials and things like that. So give that a shot. But I personally really only use it as a conversion tool right now. Okay, cool. Hopefully that helped. Good to see you too, Tycoon. All right. We lost. Here's Roxy, who is Lola Lucky. Here we go. So, do you have a tip for DJing with Apple Music? Here, let's go ahead and put this up on the screen here. Do you have a tip for DJing with Apple Music? BPM Supreme doesn't have all the songs I want for a set. I'm struggling to transition songs with an out or outro instrumental music. Yes. Okay. So streaming. Let's talk streaming really quick. Streaming is great because you have access to millions of songs. At the same time, there are limitations to those songs. Many of us who have spent a lot of time digging for music inside of record pools, you may find that you get used to having songs with extended intros and outros or shortened versions of songs and things like that, which I think are very, very useful as a DJ. And I would still encourage everybody to make sure that you're downloading MP3s at this point in time. Do not just rely purely on the streaming service. However, that being said, these record pools are not going to have everything you're looking for. That is not the way that they're designed. They're not designed to have the millions and millions of songs that exist on Spotify or Apple Music. So there are going to be times where you run into situations like this. A couple of things. Number one, when it comes to mixing songs, keep in mind that like the outro is one place to get out of the song. But realistically, probably a better place to get out of the song is a chorus or a chorus would be ideal, right? Especially with songs that have vocals. A chorus would be ideal. It comes a little bit sooner. It happens multiple times. And this comes with mapping out songs. So it's really important that as a DJ, you learn the music and you learn how to map out songs and that you set hot cues. In fact, actually, we've got a couple of videos here on YouTube all about mapping songs. I also, with a lot of these live streams, will probably end up mapping songs in some of these live streams as well, because mapping is such an important part of being a DJ. And yet it's really overlooked. Most DJs that haven't necessarily gone through a program like ours where we put such an emphasis on knowing your music and mapping out songs, most DJs are just getting up and playing. And I think that's a big mistake, because you then will lack the confidence that's needed to understand how you can get in and out of songs. So the whole time you kind of feel like a fraud. You're like faking the funk. Like you really don't know exactly how to get out of these songs. So that would be number one, is that I think, that for sure. The second thing I'd say is like, there are other ways to transition besides seamlessly mixing songs. We show a technique called this cold start transition, where you're utilizing something like an echo out or even just a simple fade out, and being able to effectively drop on the one and bring a song in, as opposed to being able to get them fully overlap for 8 bars. There are these different types of transitions that you can utilize, and especially if you're mixing these songs in and it's a part of a larger set, I would consider 2 things. One, maybe consider looking at finding these songs on another pool. That's a possibility. Like they may exist in another record pool if you really want the intro or outro. Number 2 is you could utilize, Apple Music won't let you do this, but Tidal will let you use the actual stem separation. So you could actually flip to an instrumental version of the song and then jump back to the very beginning of it and turn the vocals on. You could do that as well. That takes some real coordination, but that's also a possibility if you're using Tidal. You won't be able to do that with Apple Music, but you could do it with Tidal. The third option would be to get comfortable with being able to bring in tracks, not necessarily mixed and blended together, but also being able to drop in on the one. And depending on the style of the tracks and depending on how you're doing this is also going to require you to get pretty good at using beat effects, get good at using loops even, have more control over the volume, the EQ, the filter, but also maybe having good control over a simple basic scratch to be able to scratch and drop a track in. All of those things will probably be very helpful if you're using songs that don't have 8-bar intros, which, by the way, before, back in the day, we were having to do that, before these types of edits existed. So definitely try out that. Hopefully that's helpful. I think there's lots of ways to be able to navigate that. Don't get scared of the tracks that don't have 8-bar intros also. Try to learn how to navigate that. And I know that you were asking for maybe some help when it came to that. Like, that's certainly something that we can help you with too. Okay. I've got 55 seconds, but hold on. Muskman says, I hope I made it within the 10 minutes. Should we consider a backup laptop or controller? Backups should always be considered. A backup laptop is very expensive, or could be very expensive. And if you're using a crappier laptop as a backup, that may not help you in the end, right? Like if you had a laptop that just wasn't very good, but you're like, well, but whatever, it's my backup. That may not help you in the end. I personally usually like to travel with a backup iPad. I'll have a backup iPad that I use and can just kind of run a Y cable out of, like a cable that goes directly into a mixer, and worst comes to worst, I could at least keep music going, or be able to use a program like Algorithm DJ, like DJ AY, the app that's amazing on mobile. I'll be able to use something like that to keep it running. Look at my timer just went off. Look at that, 0-0. Okay, great. Hopefully I got to all of it. All right. Sorry, I see Rick. Rick, I'll hold on. Let me answer your question real quick. This is kind of piggybacking off of Lola's question. Is there a way to create a loop that automatically triggers stems? Not yet. Not yet. But I think something like that is in the works. I think a lot of people want something like that because, yes, I would love to be able to hit a hot cue and it jumps to that section, it loops it, and it makes it instrumental. Like, that would be awesome, like to be able to have that. And I think that's coming. I really do. And probably Algorithm DJ will be the first one to develop it. I'm just saying. I hope that it comes just because that would be something that I think would really benefit a lot of DJs. And yeah, maybe that's coming sooner than later. We'll see. Okay. I hope I was able to help somebody today. I hope you got something out of being here. Please, if you haven't done so already and you're here on YouTube, like and subscribe, or like this video, subscribe to this. It'll help us a ton as we continue to build this channel. I know I'm a little bit later in the game to getting back into YouTube, and it's one of those things where we really want to use this as a platform to be able to help people and help people navigate through like where they might be getting stuck. For those of you who want more information on the DJ Coach and some of our other programs and things that we have, I put my email in the chat at some point, but it's simple. It's hapa@thedjcoach.com. Or you can always, direct message me on social or whatnot. But please, reach out. This is the year. This is the year that you get unstuck. This is the year that you set goals and you actually hold yourself accountable and get to those goals. But it's hard to do that alone. So if you're looking for a space, if you're looking for a team, you're looking for people to support you, this is a really great environment. We would love to be able to help you grow this year. So if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. It's certainly not for lack of resources on what's available. It's really now just the ball's in your court. You've got to figure out what you want this to become. And you don't have to do this on your own. Please, it's not a sign of weakness to ask for help. Absolutely not. It's actually it actually is wise, right? You're efficient. There's wisdom in saying, I don't know everything. And I certainly don't know what I don't know. Let me get in community with people that can help me figure out what I don't know in order for me to get to where I need to get to. where I feel like I'm destined to go. So please, I'm really glad. I know I'm preaching to the choir because all of you are here and you've taken time out of your day, your evening to be able to be here. So we appreciate it. If you need anything, feel free to reach out to us. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Bye, everybody. Have a good one. Oh, sorry, if you don't log off quite yet, I would just want to say, I want to plug this one more time. Next week, next Saturday, we're actually going live with some of our Pro DJ certification students. We're showcasing them. We're going to do a whole live stream that's here. You're going to see student showcases. We're going to do this on Twitch and also on YouTube. So you'll get a chance to see that and experience that. Shout out to some of our students who will be performing next week. Clags, DJ Kiombe will be performing next week. Freezy, who jumped off just a minute ago. Those are the ones that I know are here live. Tycoon. Hopefully that's you too. You'll be performing next week. But yeah, bye everybody. Have a good one. We'll see you next week.